Have the Panthers found their answer at safety? Maybe they have found a deep threat gem inside the draft? And the Prince does it again. These stories and more as training camp day 2 continues on Growlin and Prowlin. Welcome back, Growlers. Thank you all so much for joining us here for another edition of Growlin and Prowlin. Of course, you're growling with the one and only Mr. CeeLo, and hope you guys are doing okay, as it was a much cooler day in the area today, but hope you guys are doing awesome as well. But hey, no sense in complaining about it. We've got a couple of more, about a month or two more of this heat, but might as well just get used to it while we can, right? But just want to get a few of you guys in here who commented. Redelio hit me up saying, enjoy the podcast info and entertaining. They need to check out the inside linebacker number 44. He is fast, quick, and hits like a freight train. Keep pounding. Ted Will. Then he also commented yet again saying Trevin Wallace will show out this year. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate the comments. I honestly agree with you. I don't have a problem with the Trevin Wallace selection, but then Rosboom is one that I was listening to. I don't know if it was Julian Council, but no, it was a reporter for the Cat Crave, and he said something to the effect of, this doesn't impress me with replacing Josie Jewell. Now, keep in mind, this is a guy that had 100 tackles last season as a Ram. Bruh. And the Rams went to the playoffs. And their defense was not just one guy. You know, Jared Verse didn't make all the plays on the field. I don't know where people are getting their information. Rosboom had over 100 tackles. So, yeah, this is a guy that's ready to take the next step. I do wish we had more depth. So, I just think there are a lot of people that are, I get it. We're one injury away from being in the hole. I get it. But I think Trevin Wallace is going to be ready. And I think Rosboom is probably going to be one of those guys. He's going to be capable of playing the entire season. But thank you so much, Ted. Make sure you are sub now. I see that you are. Yes. Thank you so much, my friend. You do know about the shirt, right?
Bruh.
Great. Not going to speak on that, guys. But needless to say, let's move forward and let us get into the content. As I said, I hope you guys are doing great. Let us look forward into the day's activities, which turned out to be a good day. I just want to start by going by what Dave Cannella said today. He cleared this up. I want to absolve Princely Umanyamilan of any wrongdoing, because there were a lot of people ready to get him after what happened yesterday. What was reported yesterday by even individuals myself who didn't know the whole story. But it's great. We're going to go ahead and we're going to say, hey, Princely, we're going to give you a growl out, my friend, because needless to say, you're out there playing hard. And it was showed up on film that you tried to pull up and there was nothing you could do. Probably the most inadvertent strip sack you could get. But yeah, that's one of those where you're going hard and yeah, just try to pull up. And that's what they said. You tried to pull up and there's nothing you could do. Don't get hurt in the process, but also don't hurt Bryce either. You know, I'm not saying go halfway, but yeah, get to a point where you're just pulling up when you're getting near Bryce. That's all you can do. But the same thing, he did it again today.
What?
He put his stamp on this practice. He got to Bryce yet again. Great move inside to on the inside of Aquanu, and he was able to get to Bryce again, except this time he didn't put hands on him. So he finished practice again, getting to Bryce, and the question now becomes, he's beaten Aquanu twice in 2 days, and Aquanu's looking for an extension. Now, he responded by saying that there's a lot of juice out here. And I remember, and I think one of the reporters also replied to him saying, you better start bringing that juice as well. And I totally agree, because listen, I think Princely's going to be a great pass rusher. But unfortunately, what's going to happen is he's going to have to start bringing it. It's one of those situations that you're looking for a deal. And if one of these rookies is giving us the sign of things to come, and like I said, he's gonna have to bring that juice. And Aquanu was like I said, he's on record as he and second round pick Nick Scorton are showing Aquanu what Aquanu called juice with their pass rush, and for a team ranked last in the NFL in 2024. Either that's good news for our pass rush or it's bad news for our offensive line, because Aquanu's supposed to be protecting Bryce's blind spot.
What the? Stop the cap.
Yeah. But let's look at some of the high points. Nick Scorton, like I said, has had some really good practices as well. I'm really excited about him. If looking at this guy, maybe Texas A&M was not a good fit. I said that yesterday. I'm looking at what he did at Purdue, because being a Notre Dame fan, you guys, I saw a lot of this guy when he played. Well, not necessarily a lot. We kind of maintained him, but he was still doing his thing to get to the quarterback. But outside of that, let's look at what the play of the day was. As outside linebacker newcomer Pat Jones II is trying to etch himself a mark, whether it be as pass rusher or even in coverage. To me, this shows some really good possibilities here, that Jones could possibly be a backup middle linebacker, because we all know as a middle linebacker, you got to do some coverage. Even as a outside edge guy, you're going to have to cover some. But Pat Jones picked off a poorly thrown ball by Bryce Young over the middle by keeping good vision on Bryce and getting to the spot. Canellis went on to say it was an amazing play. Now, it's a great play, showing possibly the possible versatility that Jones could have, and possibly being able to play two positions, and being able to extend his worth within this football team. But also that Bryce is making mistakes. That can't happen. We can't have these sloppy mistakes. I get it. I understand that maybe this defense is going to be different this season. I hope that's a sign of things to come. But it goes the same thing when you talk about the Aquanu, Nick Scorton, as well as the Princely Emmanuel issue there. You could have a situation where the defense is so much better that maybe there's some true competition here. But we won't know until we really get into pads. Also, a guy that's really coming into his own, and we've seen him really making marks, and Dave Canellis has spoken highly of this kid, and it would be Florida native, Colorado wide receiver, and 208th pick Jimmy Horn Jr., as he's really been cementing himself on this football team. A lot of people have questioned, not myself, because any guy that's shifty like this guy is, he's going to shake himself out of role, because the one thing about shiftiness and speed, you can't teach. It's just something you either have it or you don't. And he's known for his speed, but he made a nice sideline catch today that showed his versatility. Canellis loves Horn's approach. It's all gas. Now, for many of you don't know what gas is. The guy ran a 4.46 at the scouting combine, likely below what many expected. Even myself, watching this guy play at Colorado, made him looking so much quicker than the guys on the field. It could be the possibility of the competition. However, it could be, in fact, due to the fact that this is a guy that is just so shifty, who is a guy who just has in-game speed. I mean, I'm sure many of you guys have known people who just have that in-game capability. They're just that fast. But there are mutterings of a lingering hamstring issue possibly that may have hindered Horn. But his speed was evident once he arrived for a minicamp, and he immediately caught the eyes of all the coaching staff. But as I said, following day 2 of practices, Coach Canella spoke glowingly about Horn and how he applies himself. And of course, he said that he does this all gas. He's fast, 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 fast. I mean, most people think he's on the roster bubble. I think they find a way to keep him on here, whether it's as a special teamer or because you can't teach being fast. And I think they may have found the guy that can take the top off the defense, other than Jalen Coker as well as Teteroa McMillan. You know, I even think the way schematically last year Xavier Legette was able to get open, he's deceptively fast as well. I think there's depth, deep guys all over this field. I think the issue is going to be whether or not Canellis can get these guys the ball. I think he's going to be able to eat up enough of the field that they're going to be able to take shots. And I think Bryce is more confident now that he's going to be able to do that. Just can't have those throws to Pat Jones or guys who will be playing Pat Jones's position, of course. But as we said, Horn has been clocked at reaching in game speed at 21.2 miles an hour. Now, for reference, Tyreek Hill has reached a speed of 22.7 miles an hour. Now, I get it. That's almost a mile slower than Tyreek Hill, but he's still in good company. I mean, to run 20 miles an hour.
Run.
Pretty impressive. But Horn is still a day 3 pick, but with the growing praises that that Horn is receiving from Canellis, it's not an afterthought to say that Canellis could possibly hold this guy on the roster, whether it be practice squad temporarily and wait for something to happen, or they keep him on the roster at the end of the final cutdown day. But mostly looking at the final part of this day was basically the competition between Austin Corbett and Cade Mays, the battle for the center position. Truly, I think that we can look at this competition and see it's going to be a true battle all the way down. But I think ultimately it's just kind of be where you're looking at one playing with the ones today and one playing with the ones today. And I think it's going to have a lot to do with communication. And Canella said he loves the competition and he loves asking the guys to bring their best. They don't have to go above and beyond who they are, but it requires all of you. But as we all know, Austin Corbett started first 5 games of 2024 before succumbing to a season-ending biceps injury, and then Mays eventually took over and started in the middle for 8 of the team's final 9 games. But I think Brady Christensen starting for a few of those games in there until he dealt with an injury, and that was when Mays stepped in, and he really never relinquished the job. But ultimately, it's one of those situations where I'm kind of just looking at the fact that how much Corbett is going to cost against the cap, and I think ultimately what they're trying to do is, and they being Dan Morgan and Dave Canellis, they're trying to compare apples to apples when it comes to, okay, we've got this guy and that guy, but this guy's costing us X. And if we can get the same quality here at a cheaper price, and you can continue to build up that stock, because you're going to need that money to roll over so that you could possibly sign Bryce. And then you got to think about signing Legette and possibly extending, Jalen Coker as well. You got guys that are coming up real soon. And probably before we get out of here, we've got to ask the question, sticking with Ike Ekwonu. He was asked, is he going to get that extension? And he replied, well, I'm not going to talk about the timeline, obviously, he replied. I'm going to let my agent handle that one and everything like that. But I've always said I want to be here. People always say this is home for me. This is literally my home, born and raised here. I grew up a Panthers fan, so definitely want to wear the process blue as long as I can. So hopefully we can definitely get something done. The Panthers exercised his 5th-year option earlier this offseason, but early shows between early battles between Nick Scorton and, of course, Princely Umanyamilin on back-to-back days getting, I guess you could say, smoked. That's not a good way to show the Panthers franchise you want to be here. But I will say this. As I said earlier, it could be a sign of new blood and new juice. But if you're going to get paid like you're one of the best, you got to bring it like you're the best. So hopefully, do I think the Panthers are going to stick with him? Of course. But I think ultimately what it does show is it shows the worth of one Taylor Moton. I get it. He'll be 31, but hey, look, we can get younger at the position if we can. But I would say if Moton is still good this year, I'd say go ahead and give him a 2-year extension. I know that's going to make Dan Morgan look extremely bad because you're paying him $31 million when you could have went ahead and extended that $31 million out. But you done did it now. Ultimately, you wanted to be faithful to Moulton. You wanted him to finally get paid from that big deal he signed a couple years ago and not cost him his money, which I respect that. He's been a cornerstone of this offensive line even when we weren't so good. But I do want to throw that nugget out there, you guys. Maybe we don't need to move on from Moulton yet. I don't think we need to, but all the signs are somewhat pointing to that. But haven't heard any bad things about Taylor Moton. He seems to be performing well. Want to give you an update on Tommy Tremble, as he was seen at the practice stretching and running through non-practice drills, if you would. He was out jogging, catching passes from other guys and running routes. So it's a good sign to see him out there with his back injury, and we hope that he will be out there in a couple of weeks, being able to be in full contact, if you will, because we get him back coupled with Jatavian Sanders, along with the soon-to-be rookie sensation Mitchell Evans. Guys, I can't wait till y'all see what Mitchell Evans can bring to the table. If y'all never watched him at Notre Dame, you don't know what you're missing. I may end up doing a show on him so you guys can see what we have. But we've really got some weaponry on that offense. But we need Bryce. Bryce, listen, brother, calm down. You can't be throwing interceptions to linebackers. Not to linebackers. Okay? I hope Princely didn't get that arm. I hope he didn't. But they said it was clean, so it was a clean play. So hopefully you're good, my brother. I hope everything's good. And the final thing tonight we got to talk about is Damani Richardson. Damani Richardson is slowly but surely carving his way into the attention of all the defensive players, defensive coordinators, and even Coach Canellis' mind, as he once again is out there doing his thing, really showing great communication between the secondary. It's really impressive to watch his communication out there with the other guys, including Travion Morrig. He ended up making another big play in the secondary, but it's that communication between the cornerbacks that Dave Canellis is really impressed with and is really growing fond of. And I'm going to be honest with you, if from what I'm hearing out of camp, it seems more and more like you're seeing a growth of Damani Richardson becoming that starter. And if we can get him, along with Lathan Ransom, to be that strong focal point as a backup, but we can get Damani Richardson to be that guy and really be able to take charge in that secondary and allow Travion Morrig to play that kind of rover role or in that box safety, if you will, this defense is going to be very, very difficult to play with. And as I said before, if Damani Richardson can make those strides he made last season and become that level starter that many people in Panther Nation, individuals that have their own shows that talk about this guy can't be it. Oh, I'm not really Damani Richardson. Ooh. If what I'm hearing about in camp is really the truth, this guy is communicating and taking charge like an alpha safety, there's your diamond in the rough. And Dave Canellis has already spoken on it. But that's going to do it for us, you guys. Make sure you hit me up in my inbox at Mr. CeeLo on Instagram if you got any comments or any questions. Also, make sure you leave your comments down below. as well as leaving your name down there. If you have already subscribed but been a long time subscriber, just make sure you leave your name down there so I can make sure that I put your name in the box for the drawing of the t-shirt that I'm consistently still touching up and getting ready for print. Finally, go to the Facebook page of Growlin and Prowlin, as well as join the group Growlin and Prowlin, so you can find out all the updates and polls that I will be putting on the page. But until the next time, keep prowling the airwaves and keep growling out. Keep pounding.